Good afternoon, everyone. This is Katie Novotny calling in from Premier Marketing. Wanted to thank you for joining us today. Today, we are so excited to talk about some sales concept. I know that we are going into Long-Term Care Awareness Month. More than ever, we have people seeking coverages, specifically home care. So what we wanted to do was kind of do a different spin on this. We are looking for business planning and maybe some employee enhancements. That being said, we are so excited to have Lincoln Financial's Rob Johnson and Ryan Patton with us today. They're going to discuss some bonus structures and things that you really could pitch to your business owners for year end. So with that, Rob, you ready to take it away?
I'm ready. Appreciate the invitation, and thank you all for carving out time in the middle of the day here. I'm going to just jump in. My name is Rob Johnson. I'm the sales VP here at Lincoln MoneyGuard. We're thankful for a partner like Premier. I'm really honored to have Ryan Patton. He's our senior consultant in advanced sales here at Lincoln. We're going to make this call no longer than 20 minutes, ideally about 15 minutes, just to give you a sales concept that's working for us here at Lincoln. Then I'm going to give a quick update on MoneyGuard at the end, and we're going to get you on your way. So Ryan, why don't you go ahead and get started?
Hey, perfect. Well, thanks again I'll echo what you said. Thanks again for having us here today. And yeah, I'd love to just kind of share a few things that I've seen work. And actually, not to give the date because I know we're recording this, but I actually just had this conversation this morning on a pretty substantial case. So it's working, it's active, so leverage it. But before we dive into kind of what the mechanics are, just a little scope of why we're talking about this too. And that's really this opportunity we see on the screen. This is really geared towards more of that closely owned business. Some folks will call it a small business. And look at the numbers there. Talk about a market, about 32 million. It's actually grown substantially since the pandemic. So it's probably closer to 34 at this time. But 99% of the businesses out there are actually these closely owned businesses. So walk down your main street, that's probably a good opportunity for you. Doctors, dentists, lawyers, construction, number is substantial. The other group that's been growing very rapidly as well is the women-owned business. So again, look at that number down there, 12.3. It's actually probably closer to, maybe 13 and a half or so at this point. So substantial amount of individuals fall into this bucket. And one of the biggest issues that these individuals face is kind of the skill set. For a lot of these folks, it's a closely owned business, and we've got employees that are kind of make or break from that perspective for the business day to day. So we see a great opportunity to target specific individuals as opposed to everybody that's involved. We really want to use some sort of tool, some sort of planning to figure out a way to incentivize certain individuals to stay with us, because they've been doing just so much for our business from the growth perspective, treating them almost like family. So with that, Rob, we can jump into kind of what we're going to talk about today. And that is this executive bonus structure. So if you haven't heard of this before, this structure is pretty nice. It's under the 162 code section. And essentially what this allows is a business owner, they're able to take a certain tax deduction. So I can target specific individuals, again, not everybody, not like a qualified plan, something like that. I can target certain individuals, and essentially what 162 allows us to do is give them a bonus. We're going to give them a bonus, an increase in compensation, but we're going to direct it into a product that's going to be more focused on a benefit for them as opposed to just cash. So again, think of the folks that are kind of the make or break of the company. They're the ones that are maybe the sales leaders, maybe they're the key engineer, some sort of knowledge that's really helping drive the success of the business, that you would say to the owner of the business, what happens if Jim or Jan walks away? How does that impact your cash flow? Those are the folks we're really targeting with this sort of design. So again, we've got quite a few on there, but let's dive into a little bit of the graphic of how that actually works too. So we can skip to the next slide there, Rob. Yeah, so this is about it. So when we're talking about, how complex do we want to make it for business owners, all the different testing that maybe goes along with, say, qualified plan or maybe a cross-tested plan. There's a lot of mechanics to that. This on the spectrum of complexity is fairly low, which makes it very nice from an employer's perspective. There's not a lot of additional paperwork. It's really, I just need to sit back and look at who's an individual or individuals that are really impacting my business, and I want to give them something different. So as you can see kind of on the screen here, on the left side, we've got what's going to happen today if we implemented this type of plan. Today, the employer is going to target that individual, that key employee. We're going to give them that executive bonus, but that compensation, that additional money we're kicking out to that employee, we're directing those funds right into a life insurance policy, and specifically a MoneyGuard policy. So there's a little bit of tax on that. The employer's got the option to cover that tax as well. But the nice thing with this plan is once it leaves the employer from a dollar perspective, it's the employees. So if they want to move on to another company in the future, great. They don't lose this benefit because they left their employer. Same with retirement. You know, I want to retire, but I still want to have this nice benefit. Great. It's in your pocket today. So it's got a lot of perks on that end. And the other side too, with this being more that life insurance chassis, we also have a death benefit too. So it's not just a use it or lose it. This also offers a little bit of additional flair if you don't lose it, or if you don't use it, you don't lose it. You still have that benefit for your family. So I think a good option is just to show you kind of how this works with an example. And that's where we've got our case study here. So we've got Tim and Kevin. Tim owns a closely owned family business. He's got kind of that main individual, Kevin. He's our top-notch plant manager. He's 55, and he wants to give him a reason to stay. So he understands that there's potential competitors out there that could steal him, try and give him some sort of offer to make him want to walk away. We want to target just Kevin. So to do that, what we've set up here, and we can go to the next one, is we've set up or had a discussion with him about our different benefit that we want to give to him outside of just maybe a bonus. And that benefit comes in the form of this MoneyGuard Fixed Advantage. And if you haven't looked at this recently, this is kind of what I would say, and Rob, you're going to dive into this more than me, but this is one of the products out there that really is a strong product from a long-term care perspective in the industry. It's one that's guaranteed. We know what's gonna be there for the individual if something ever occurs from a care perspective. It's got a little bit of flexibility from some of the income perspective. It's not all just reimbursement. There's also a little bit of flex that we can give out. Some great resources as well. And the big thing that I like to focus on with this too is, you know, as we're thinking of Kevin, Kevin's been with us for a while. We want to make sure that everything else that we've given to him, all those great contributions to his 401k, all of those bonuses that we've given to him, the life that he's essentially built because of his involvement with our business, we want to protect it. So to protect one asset of that is through long-term care risk exposure. So certainly has some great legacy perspective too. And this is a little breakdown of what that actually looks like. So on the left side, we said, Kevin, he's 55, so we're going to give him a bonus all the way through his retirement, so 65. We're going to give him $10,000 every year into this product. And when I discuss this with folks, the way I like to phrase this, instead of maybe a bonus, I say we're looking to give them a benefit. We want to give them an executive benefit as opposed to a bonus. A lot of folks out there can receive $10,000 as a bonus, and it feels great. You know, that might be $8,000 after tax or whatever the number is, but then it's gone. This is more focused on what kind of benefit are we going to get in retirement. So as you can see kind of on the right side, you know, if we put in $10,000 into this plan, if something happens and Kevin just has to walk away, maybe it's a family issue, or maybe he did find greener grass on the other side, he can always surrender this policy. He's got $7,000 worth of cash. Or if heaven forbid something happens to him year one, he's got $100,000 that's going to go over $100,000 that's going to go to his family. So really nice from that perspective, a little bit of leverage. The other thing that's also nice that we don't have on the screen here is actually the long-term care component. So year one, heaven forbid something happens to Kevin, he goes on a long-term care claim. he's already, just from year one, he's going to have year one $4,300 that he can use for his care. So very strong. So we accelerate that out. Year 10, Kevin's ready to retire. He's received over $100,000 into this product for his benefit. If he doesn't need it, doesn't want it, he's got $70,000. He can surrender that, use it to buy his boat, whatever he wants to do. Certainly hope that isn't the case, but he's got the cash there if he wants it. He also has, heaven forbid he were to pass away, he's got almost $120,000 worth of death benefit that would go to his family at that time as well. The other real nice thing is just the amount of leverage that time frame has given us from a long-term care perspective. So year 10 comes along, we're looking at roughly $5,600 of monthly benefit. So pretty substantial growth on that side as well. So, long-term care perspective, great way to secure some of those assets that he's worked for so long with the company. Completely different spin on the discussion, I would say. A lot of folks out there will say, let's do a LIRP design or whatever terminology you want to use for the life insurance-based retirement type of design where we're max funding a life insurance policy. A lot of folks will push for that as the executive bonus. Not a lot of folks are talking about this executive benefit, focused more on the long-term care side to protect all the other great assets they've got. So that's a little bit of what this story is about. Rob, I know you've got a few things to cover as well, so I'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, and you're spot on. I mean, we're doing this to retain that key employee, but at the core, this is a long-term care benefit for him. So by the time he's in his early 80s, there is more than $500,000 available tax-free for long-term care. So, and know that if he never needs it, there's a death benefit, and these premiums are guaranteed. There's leverage, there's a legacy benefit, that death benefit, and there's liquidity, knowing that if he ever changes his mind, leaves the company, doesn't want the policy, he can get back 70% of what he paid in. So we see a ton of this, especially for those carve outs. I just had one with 7 key employees, of which the company actually paid for 5 of the spouses as well. So this is certainly an area we're seeing growth in. What I want to do next is give quick updates in respect to time with MoneyGuard. So Lincoln MoneyGuard, this is the #1 asset-based or linked benefit solution still in the market. We have had over 35 years. MoneyGuard turned 35 in August. We've had 60,000 financial professionals write MoneyGuard in the last 35 years. Just in September, we had pricing improvements again for the second time this year, anywhere between 0 and 15%. The average is 5, but the bulk of those improvements will be for those individuals between 55 and 65, which is ideal because our average buyer of this type of solution is right around age 60. So you're going to see those improvements for that 55-year-old female, 60-year-old female in that 10 to 11 to 12% range. So it's great improvements for the product from a pricing perspective. The other thing that we've done this year is we've added our benefit transfer rider. Again, when we think about having flexibility, besides not having an elimination period, which we're the only LTC carrier in this linked benefit space that doesn't require an elimination period, we also wanted to give folks more options on what to do with their death benefit. So now couples where they each have a MoneyGuard type policy, when one of them passes away and there's a death benefit remaining, that surviving spouse now has options. They could take the death benefit, or they could take the death benefit and roll it back into their own policy, enhance their own benefits, and Lincoln will leverage that by about 7-8% on the death benefit, by about 50% on that long-term care benefit, or they could do a little of both. What's really nice is they don't need to make this decision on what they want to do with that death benefit at the time of application. We allow them to choose at that unique time of the passing of the one individual. The other nice part about benefit transfers, we're not limiting this feature, and this is built in. I know it says rider, this is built in two spouses. So if my mom buys MoneyGuard, and then my brother and I, who are, 25 years younger, buy MoneyGuard, when she passes away, if we're the beneficiary, even though this was in a joint policy, we have flexibility. So my brother could say, give me the death benefit. I could say, give me more long-term care benefit. So this is built in. It's going to increase the long-term care benefit, death benefit, and the length of protection. Like I mentioned, no additional underwriting. So that means that surviving spouse could already be on claim with MoneyGuard. They might have Alzheimer's. They might be in a facility. And if their spouse passes away, they could enhance their own policy. I mentioned not needing to make this decision at the time of purchase. And if I have an inflation rider, which most folks do, when that money comes over and I enhance my own policy, now that bigger pool of benefits grows. So to give you an example, if this individual, they decided not to use benefit transfer rider and there was $100,000 death benefit, they would have $537,000 of LTC benefits. And you can see that right here, 537, they had a 6-year plan, they had a death benefit of 100,000. They say their spouse passed away, I'm going to take that 100,000, I'm going to roll it back into my own policy. Now all we did is kick the can down the road on the death benefit. We made it a second deny. Now that surviving spouse is $208,000 death benefit, and instead of $537,000, they have $690,000 of benefits. We added 18 months. There was no cost to this. They can make the decision down the road. This is built into MoneyGuard Fixed Advantage. The other thing that we've enhanced, and there are policies out there that are indemnity style policies. There are reimbursement only policies. What Lincoln has done is really met you in the middle, providing the best of both worlds, really meaning that, hey, I could get up to 50% of my monthly benefit in cash, while also knowing that if I do need reimbursement on those other days, I still have that balance of the monthly benefit available to reimburse for qualified care. And we've made the form as easy as possible. Hey, I have this MoneyGuard policy. I'd like to get cash. All you have to do is put your policy number, your name, what year it is, what week, and how many days did somebody provide care. And then they sign down at the bottom. So we've made accessing part of your monthly benefit in cash as easy as possible. The other thing that we've enhanced this year, and I'll wrap up here, is we've actually rolled out real-time approval. And again, we're the only in this linked benefit space to offer that. So real-time approvals for those clients, and Katie has them all the time. Hey, they are truly the marathon runner, healthy, no health issues. Those folks will find out at the end of their interview, that PHI, whether it was over the phone or they did an e-interview, that they've been approved. I just had one about 25 minutes before this call today. That is, and they're going to find out right away. At the end of that call, they're going to say, hey, congratulations, you've been approved for MoneyGuard. If they don't get a real-time approval, then it's just as usual, where it goes for an underwriter for review. And the nice part about MoneyGuard is we're not ordering medical records. We're not doing paramed exams. So no one's going to come out to your client and poke them or weigh them or ask them questions. We're going to gather all that information by a prescription drug database, a check of the MIB, and doing a PHI. So this is what it looks like. Submission, they'll begin their interview. There will be some automated underwriting, and then hopefully they have a real-time approval, and then we can get ahead and get issuing it. This is brand new for MoneyGuard, and again, this is going to help speed up that process for all Lincoln. So Katie, I want to be respectful of the time. Turn it back over to you. We're right at 20 minutes right now, and appreciate the opportunity to share with your team today.
Perfect. Hey, Rob, we've got 2 quick questions here.
Yeah.
One is the 162 bonus strategy relevant for non-C Corp businesses?
Yeah, great question. So this is relevant for any business out there. Yep, you'll still be able to write off those additional wages as compensation to that key individual. So yeah, C Corp might be a little better with, let's say, an owner potentially, but really any business out there, this is a good discussion. Great question.
Perfect. The other question is issue ages, and is this available in all 50 states?
MoneyGuard Fixed Advantage issue ages are 40 to 80, and it's available in every state except New York and California. They have a little bit older version called MoneyGuard 2, but real similar product. It just won't have that benefit transfer rider or FlexCare Cash, that informal cash benefit we talked about. But MoneyGuard Fixed Advantage, the one we highlighted today, is in the other 48 states.
Perfect. Perfect. The last question, actually, Scott, I'm going to reach out to you directly on that regarding a quote. But thank you both, Ryan and Rob. I really appreciate it. This was great stuff, specifically going into year end and doing some business planning here. So with that, I appreciate everyone's time. If you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call here at Premier. If we don't know the answer, I am sure that Rob and Ryan would happily help us out. So with that, I appreciate it. And everyone have a great day. See you guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks.